Sair da escola já com uma formação profissional no currículo? Parece bom demais pra ser verdade, né? Pois é. No ensino técnico do Senac, isso é possível. É ensino médio junto com formação técnica, que acontece durante os 3 anos. Lá, eles usam metodologia para projetos, desenvolvendo competências como resolução de problemas, pensamento crítico e colaboração, além de valores éticos e sustentáveis. Quer saber? Senac. Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino médio e saiba mais.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning. Entertaining and informative. You're my best friend. 77 WABC.
I love Chrissy Hines. I love the Pretenders. What a show today. Guys, started with the governor in Samaria. Great man, Israel Gans, and he dropped off a bottle of the President Trump wine that the Falak family makes. Now, you know, Tila Falak was in the studios 3 days ago, and I was at the home of the Falaks in Jerusalem when I broke the Yom Kippur fast with Bibi Netanyahu this year. The Falak family is very, very close with Bibi, with Trump, all of them. And they've got their own winery there in Judea and Samaria. We've got President Trump wine here today. Curtis Sliwa was great. We spoke to Joe Pinion. He's going to try to win that seat that Elise Stefanik is about to vacate, New York District 21. Thomas Knipp was here today, the great attorney for Daniel Penny and Bill O'Reilly. We closed it out with another great guest, and I say this all the time. The 2 best writers in the country are both at the New York Post, Miranda Devine and this brilliant gentleman, my friend Michael Goodwin. Mike, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's good to have you. I love your last column. Kathy Hochul, Eric Adams are deaf to voters' resounding message, and you're talking about this psycho that's walking the streets and murdering people, and you're talking about bail reform, of course, as well. But I'll add a second one to it. How the hell does the mayor, before we get to, how does the mayor come out 2 days ago and congratulate the governor, congratulate her on congestion pricing, have the balls to tell us there's a 40% discount when it's going from 0 to 9? Do they think we're really that stupid?
Apparently they do. They do apparently subscribe to the idea that you can fool all the people some of the time. And this is one of the times they've chosen to try to fool us. I mean, it's extraordinary. It's like, wait, did you not go to school? Do you not know simple math? I mean, it's just amazing. But this is the level on which they operate. That you cannot be honest, you can't be straight, you can't stick to facts. You have to make up something in order to sell a bad product. I mean, as I say in the column, if this were a private business claiming you're saving 40%, they'd be in court.
That's right.
But
yeah.
If it's the government, what do you expect? They're politicians. They lie all the time. I mean, this is the kind of leadership that New York City and state now have, and it's disgraceful. It is awful. And for the governor to lie that way, and to clearly the cynicism of pausing it before the election to help the Democrats in the suburbs, and then even before the votes are finished counting, she reinstates it. And for the mayor to accept this is money coming out of the pockets of people who might otherwise spend that money in New York City. If they're coming here to work or just to visit, now they're going to be spending that money to the state, which will then perhaps skim a bit and then give some to transit. But what about the restaurants they're not going to patronize? What if they don't come at all? I mean, all of these things trickle down to the city's bottom line, and you would think the mayor would be on the side of those who want to come to New York City, not the side of those who want to stop them or force them into mass transit, which is in many cases a mess.
See, you're a nice man, smart man, like my last guest, Bill O'Reilly. I'm more of a barbarian. The mayor's an idiot. He's an idiot. I'm sorry. I was his friend, Mike. We had lunches together. We had dinners together. I tried to provide that conservative mouth in his ear. but he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. The nerve to congratulate Kathy Hochul. Now, look, I saw last time that Hochul may be somewhat vulnerable only because Lee Zeldin came close to beating her. Now, I'll be honest, I'm very, very good friends with Mike Lawler, congressman of Rockland County. We're not just business and so we're friends. I think he's got a shot to beat her. Do you feel like decisions like this and men running around the streets killing 3 people in one day because of bail reform, do you feel like Kathy Hochul, even in this state, is vulnerable her next election?
I do. And I think, Sid, the real telltale for me is that Donald Trump got 44% of the vote in New York State. That is remarkable. Now, still, of course, the Democrats got the rest. I mean, Harris got 56% or whatever. Nonetheless, this is a new high watermark. New York State last voted for a Republican president in 1984, Ronald Reagan's second term. That's the last time New York went red. This is very close now, and I think that it is certainly doable. And Hochul, I don't know anybody who thinks Hochul is doing a great job.
Eric Adams.
The polls, 34% approval rating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's lower than Joe Biden ever had, and we know how he was pushed aside.
Right.
So this is pretty awful. And the Democratic base, in New York City is, I think, particularly vulnerable now. I mean, Trump's appeal to working class people of all races and religions is really striking a chord. He did very well in some black and Latino neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Queens, and, of course, upstate. So I think Hochul is very vulnerable. I think the Democratic Party is very vulnerable.
Well, hold on. That's what I want to stop you now. What you talk about the Democrat Party, let me give you a story. I had Tom Kniff on last hour. You know who he is, obviously. Daniel Penny's attorney. He ran for DA against Alvin Bragg. I know you know that. He lost, okay? But when he first announced he was running, he had a meeting with the Republicans who run this state. At the time, a guy named Nick Langworthy was the guy in charge.
Right.
And he said, we're so excited you're running. You've got this great resume. You served proudly this country. You're a big-time attorney, great experience. You can win. We're going to give you $1,000. Listen to me, Michael. Not $1 million, $1,000. You want the kicker to the story, which you told me this morning? They didn't even give him the $1,000 check. My point is, the Republican Party in this state, they need to do a much, much better job. A, find good candidates. I don't see many. And B, when they find them, take care of them, or crappy Democrats like Kathy Hochul will continue to win.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I was shocked a few years ago, Sid, to learn that for many, many years, remember the Republicans held the state Senate.
Yep.
That was the last holdout position. That the state Senate had no relationship to the Republican Party statewide. It raised its own money for its own candidates. It wanted nothing to do with the rest of the state party. And so this was the one source, the one real powerful source among Republicans, and it was completely separate from the city, from any other element around the state. So they kept getting reelected, many of those state senators, but they didn't care that there was no governor, no controller, no attorney general, no mayor of New York. I mean, they were on their own. They were happy with it. Of course, in the end, that little island got swept aside, too, in the 2018 midterms. But that's what has to be rebuilt. New York now needs a functioning Republican Party. It needs young guns. It needs young people who are sick of the Democratic line. And I think that's why this election and Donald Trump's showing was so important, because you had this new energy for the party, many young people, many people who maybe in the past generation would not even have considered the Republican Party, now looking at it. And look, I say this because I'm a registered Democrat, but I vote like an independent. And I think there are a lot of people like me in New York who want to see an argument. They want to see a contested election because that's what's better for the public.
Of course.
When you have a one-party system, you get this crazy radicalism.
Yep.
You get congestion pricing.
Yep.
You get the outward migration of people who say, it's not for me, I'm leaving. You know, I report on this finding that on current trends, New York will lose 3 more congressional seats after the next census. This, you know, remember when we had 41 seats?
Sure.
We'll now be down to, I think, 25 or 26.
Wow.
According to this new projection. This is because New York's population has stagnated. The city's growing, but large parts of upstate are emptying out, and so other states are economically more vibrant, lower taxes, better government services, cheaper government services, and so the migration away from the blue states to the red states, and New York being the prime example. So that's why we need a contested system. We need to have both parties fighting for every vote so that the politicians have to listen to everybody and not just pick their own little crowd and give them what they want. Right now, that crowd is the far left AOC types, and they are ruining this state for ordinary people.
Ruining this state, and I know you're a registered Democrat, but you're a common sense guy. They are ruining the party, the Democrat Party. I got Alan Dershowitz on this show. He's to the left of you saying, we're dead. So they are doing some serious damage to the party, to the state. They did it to the country for the last 3.5 years. And I'll say it for you. Thank God President Trump won. I know you had many great interviews with the president. My guess is, you have to tell me you probably voted for Trump, even though you're a Democrat.
Of
course.
Absolutely. No hesitancy whatsoever.
Yeah. And you made the right choice. You are a great American, a very talented writer, and one of my favorite people, Michael Goodwin. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Sid. Thank you.
You be well. Michael Goodwin right there, the great columnist of the New York Post.